No, and I'm saying that you're being a little too harsh. And
but I don't think that I am. I think
you've convinced me to back off of my wholehearted endorsement of their behavior
because you were being nice, and what I think sometimes being nice isn't the answer. And look, if you want to grow as a person, like if you want to get even worse and gain even more weight and stop talking to people, and then just like stop going out, like keep the fucking mask on. If you want to go in the other direction, take that shit off and deal with it.
Watch and/or listen while we tackle tough and sometimes taboo topics filmed live over drinks. This platform allows us to articulate our thoughts and challenge our beliefs. This is SipTalk. Grab a drink and enjoy.
Live on TikTok, and we are live. Welcome to SipTalk, episode 279. My name is Justin DiGiulio, joined by James, the Boswell, Philosopher, Philanthropist, Phlebotomist, Flamingo Enthusiast. Today, we are talking about advice. We got a whole bunch of questions that have been directed towards us and some that haven't. This is a live show as we record Thursday night, so you can call 212-239-1839 with your questions. We'll answer them on air. And if you're watching on Instagram, you can click the link in my Instagram page, and you can pop in here, and we can see you, and you can see us. So, James, how's it hanging down there in sunny South Carolina?
We might have a hurricane coming next week, so I'm pumped.
I heard you got a Fukushima.
The Fujiwara effect.
Fujiwara. You want to elaborate on that?
It's when two hurricanes get close enough to each other that they can affect each other's paths and start orbiting, and it's super rare. And weather nerds get all crazy for it, and I'm a weather nerd.
And you indeed are a weather nerd. So let me ask you, what are you drinking down there?
Got myself a can of Pacifico.
A can of Pacifico. Oh, all right.
Yep.
A can of Pacifico. For those who don't know, Pacifico is Anheuser-Busch's answer to Corona, because the brand that owns Budweiser and Michelob and those beers doesn't have a beer that was like Corona, so they created Pacifico. Just like they didn't have a Blue Moon, so they created Shock Top. And I'm sure there's probably some others I can't think of, but that's where Pacifico came from.
You know what the number one selling beer in the United States is right now?
Budweiser.
Incorrect.
Bud Light?
Incorrect.
Oh, damn. Sam Adams. I don't know.
Modelo.
Wow, really? So you know why Budweiser has kind of always been the top selling beer in the United States?
Because they're generic?
Because it's like a beer that everybody will drink. So when you're having a party, you go and buy, 2 cases of Bud or Bud Light. If you're buying beer for yourself, you get something a little bit better. But I guess Modelo has got kind of like that. It must have that connotation amongst beer drinkers or party goers or party hosters. Which that would have been a good question. What should I buy to drink for my party? But nobody has asked us. Not this week. All right, so let's see. So we got a little delay on Instagram. So if you're commenting on Instagram, Rosh Galeb producing from the back end, hidden in his apartment on the Upper East Side, is feeding us your comments. But the best thing to do is watch on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, or just.
I've got to respond to this comment. So Uptown Tracy says Stella. So this is. Back when I was bartending, this was a conversation that I would have with fellow bartenders a lot. And I would love to ask the following question. What is the most overrated beer? And what is the most overrated liquor, right? And that doesn't mean, like, if you, for example, like...
It's popular but not good.
Yeah, or it's marketed as something that's really, really good, but it isn't. And so, what's your answer for liquor?
Oh, something that's really, really good that isn't.
That's marketed as being really good.
Yeah, marketed as like a premium.
It has like a perception of being really good.
I think there's a lot of vodkas. I can't think of any in particular.
So Grey Goose is not a bad answer, but it's not the answer.
What would be the answer in your
Crown Royal?
Oh yeah, I mean, I drink Crown Royal, but to me, it's not a premium level.
No, but it's marketed that way.
Yeah, Crown Royal and Dewar's to me are basically the same level, but Crown Royal comes in a purple velvety bag.
And so, whenever I'd ask this question to fellow bartenders, if they didn't guess Crown Royal, like as soon as I said Crown Royal, they're like, yeah, of course. All right, so now do beer.
Well, yeah, Stella. Stella
Stella?
markets themselves as like a premium. Sorry, up down Tracy. Stella does market itself as a premium beer, and
I think it tastes worse than regular Budweiser.
let's see what else is overhyped as a beer.
There's one other answer that I think is a pretty good one. Like Stella for me is the runaway number one,
I
but
wonder if
there
we're
is a
thinking. I'm trying to run through beers in my head and kind of what the public perception and connotation of these beers are. I have one in my head, and I'm wondering if it's going to be yours.
for me the second most overrated beer, at least in the United States, Guinness.
Oh, you're thinking Guinness? Oh, I was thinking Heineken. I love Guinness.
Heineken would be three.
I
Heineken's a close third.
I don't think Guinness gets hyped up. I actually think most people I know hate Guinness, and then they watch me, drink a couple of pints, and they're like, "You really love that stuff." It's disgusting. I don't like it. I was like, "Have you tried it?" Like, no, it's too heavy for me. I'm like,
It's not. It's the
it's
thing
not
is,
heavy
it's
at all.
not heavy. It doesn't have much flavor. Like I don't like the texture of it.
It's because it's
just like
nitrogen and not
right.
carbon
So
dioxide.
like if I want like a dark beer, then I'm gonna get a proper dark beer. Guinness isn't that. It's just I think it just is super weak in every possible way. Heineken just tastes bad.
Well, so I would go for a Guinness just like I would go for a Bud Light when I want something light. And I prefer kind of the texture and the flavor of Guinness over other light beers. And to me, Guinness is like a reasonably light beer.
So I would say if you want a light beer that actually has some flavor, go for like a Gosa.
I don't know that I've had a Gosa.
Well, next time you're in a bar, ask for a Gosa.
Now I will check the menu. So let's get into the advice. First piece of advice, or first question actually, is how to save money in New York City. And there's two parts to the question. How do I save big money, like thousands of dollars a month? And how do I nickel and dime? So
nickel and dime is easy. It's just take your hat off and sit on the corner of any street.
Let's make money. How do you save money? How do you save? So
if you make money, that's like saving money. The two sides of the same coin.
I think the big ones are live with roommates, don't own a vehicle, don't take cabs, walk as much as you possibly can. When I first moved to New York City, I literally could not afford a weekly or monthly Metro card. I walked 2 miles to work and 2 miles home, or I rode a bicycle. So walking definitely helps. What else? Good ways to save. Don't eat out. Like cook mostly from home. Eating out is super expensive. I didn't eat out.
Even worse is food delivery.
And, oh God, yeah, food delivery. And we're still talking big bucks, right? It's wild. Like every once in a while, I'll just be feeling lazy and be like, all right, let me put an order together. I'm like, all right, cool. The order $17. The total's $56. How did that happen? Yeah, food delivery apps are just the worst thing ever. I mean, it would still be better if just restaurants had their own delivery staff and you called the restaurant and got it delivered.
Most restaurants would prefer it that way too.
Well, yeah, I know, but a lot of times now they don't keep people on staff at all because it's just not economical that way either. Because most of the orders come in the other way.
I remember when I was working in restaurants and like food delivery apps were just getting started, and the thing is, like, we never signed up. For example, DoorDash, which I came to hate.
Mm-hmm.
We never signed up for them. They just started placing orders with us.
All right. We got to say the advice. 212, that's a Manhattan area code, 239-1839. 239-1839 to call in for advice. We'll answer your call on the air. Last time we did this, we didn't get any calls. I guess our viewer didn't feel like calling. And so, okay, so now how can you nickel and dime in New York City? So to that, I would say definitely making your own coffee. I would say walking over the subway. I would say no air conditioner. What else? What else is nickel and diming? Can you think of anything?
I mean, you got to just buy super cheap food. Go to find discount grocery stores.
Yeah, buying used clothes. You can certainly buy used clothes.
Really, we're giving strategies that are like one step above homeless.
Yeah, but you and I have lived like that at different times in our life for very extended periods, and not just cooking food at home. Like when I see people cook food at home, they're like, "Yeah, I didn't go out to eat and spend $50, but I cooked a 3-course meal with 15 different ingredients. I ate pasta and then I stepped it up and had pasta with a cracked egg over it. And I could make one box of pasta, like spaghetti, into three meals.
Yeah, for like $1.50.
Yeah, with an egg on each one. So
Yeah,
and
and like spend $3 for some sauce, and that sauce will probably like for $4.50 you can make like 3 meals.
oh, mine is just wheat pasta with you boil it and then you crack an egg and then you put salt. You mix the egg in the pan and then you put a little salt and pepper. If you want to go a little crazy, you put a little garlic in there or olive oil. But that was a meal, and that was something I ate for lunch and dinner, and obviously didn't eat breakfast. And this is something that went on for months. I mean, I think that's definitely nickel and diamond. All right, next question. I'll let you lead with this one.
Next question: why does everybody hate on Hell's Kitchen?
Does everybody hate on Hell's Kitchen?
I mean, this is not a phenomenon that I've been aware of. Now, granted, I haven't ever lived in New York City, but I've visited there enough, and I've never really heard much hate for Hell's Kitchen.
So
Like
it's called
people
Hell's
hate on
Kitchen
like
for a reason.
Times Square, but that's deserved.
So Hell's Kitchen used to be the armpit of Times Square. Do you know this?
Well, it's right next to it.
Yeah, so Times Square was very touristic, and then kind of just off, just a block or two away was to the west was Hell's Kitchen, and this is kind of where the prostitutes were. This is where, you had it was a rough area. That it was kind of known for gays and artists at the time, basically poor working people. Which generally, in my experience, I'm trying not to talk about demographics or get myself in hot water here, but generally those are the first people that move into a neighborhood that then becomes more gentrified down the line. But it was a rough area where there was a lot of drugs and prostitution, where people could kind of get there from Times Square and from the theater district. But I actually think now it's nothing to hate on. It's actually a really nice residential area. Tons of rest.
Right?
It's not cheap. It is relatively cheap compared to the surrounding neighborhoods like the Upper West Side or Chelsea or Midtown, which surround it. But it's a nice area. There's no hating on it. I would say walk through it, check out the restaurants. I like Hell's Kitchen quite a bit, so I don't think anybody these days is cheating on Hell's Kitchen if they know it.
No, I have family that live in Hell's Kitchen, so like I've spent time there. It feels like just about anywhere else in Midtown Manhattan to me. It doesn't feel like all that distinct.
All right, next question. My mom won't let me change my Disney Plus to 18 plus, even though I recently turned 18 earlier this year.
So this gets into a discussion of, well, helicopter parenting and how you need to assert yourself as a now adult.
I have a different take on this.
What's your take?
Are you paying for the subscription, young 18-year-old? If it's not your subscription, fuck off.
Well, yeah, it's
go pay for your fucking. What's it? $6, $11 a month? Like, if you can't afford that, then like realistically, you're reliant on this parent. And when you're relying on somebody, you kind of have to do what they say.
Well, I would agree. It's if somebody is paying for something that you are using, then you've got a lot less leverage whenever you complain about anything. So, like, if you're not paying for it, just make your own subscription, and then you can change the settings to whatever you want. And if your mom doesn't like that, you can tell her to screw off.
I don't think the mom's in the right, but I don't think you have any chance in changing.
You have no negotiating power here.
Yeah.
But it's it does. I think it does still call for you to have a conversation with your mom and say, like, you need to stop babying me. I need to be able to grow up, and this is babying.
Well, also, if this person's 18, let's say their mother is maybe 36 at the youngest, probably somebody who was
more like 45.
Well, I mean, I'm saying at the youngest, theoretically 36 would be the youngest.
Okay.
Probably 45. But my guess is there's a good chance that this person was probably babied at a young age as well. And just, I don't know. I mean, you and I kind of represent a generation where people who are older than us probably had a little more freedom, but a lot of them didn't. People our age, most of them did not have as much freedom as you and I. And the people a few years younger than us certainly did not.
No.
All right, so let's hit the next question, which I think is on you.
Okay. Is it unprofessional to have my husband walking around the background of my work video calls? To me, this is an easy answer.
What's your answer?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree completely. there's now. I think the context for this question was we live in a relatively small space, and he says it's not a problem, but that's on both of you. One, you got to come up with a work setup that just works better if you're going to be working. Like if you're now working from home, you need to have an environment that allows you kind of to be able to work on your own from home. Without distractions. I had him every Thursday. You know this. I teach a class in the morning, and we usually have anywhere from 12 to 25 people. And it is very distracting when you're trying to work. So I can only imagine for the other people on that Zoom call with you while you're talking to them, or well, maybe somebody else is even talking while somebody's wandering around in the background of your camera in your frame. It's distracting for them.
Yep.
And same thing goes for having pets or other shit going on behind you. It's kind of a no. Like,
what I would say is, like, one, you need to find some kind of a dedicated workspace. And if you don't have that much space, then like when you're working, you need to have some kind of a policy of like, hey, I know that like we both use the bedroom, but when I'm on a work call and I have the door closed, you can't come in here. And
well,
also,
there are solutions for this that are built into Zoom and Google Meet, and that is a blurred background or a green screen.
I would also say, like, if you can turn off your camera, do that.
Yeah.
Like with my current job, in the countless number of Zoom meetings, etc., that I've been a part of, my camera has been turned on precisely 0 times.
Well, I mean, that's a nice thing to be able to do. Not everybody can do that. I don't know about this. This person didn't give us much more context in this.
No, but like it's at least a question that you can ask.
All right. To this next question, I think is on you.
Ooh, my boyfriend proposed, and I hate the ring. I'm pretty sure I know, and he's been upset and stressed. I'm pretty sure I know what kind of like. I'm
pretty sure he knows, but
and he's
you know,
upset and stressed. What do I do? And I would say, like, unless the ring is like a garish, like Super Bowl kind of style ring, which that should ring some bells for you, Justin. Not because
So-
you've done it, but you know who I'm referencing.
so go ahead.
Like, unless the ring is like super garish and like really ostentatious and impossible to ignore, if it's because the ring is too small or something, you just need to get over yourself. Like, a ring is a ring, and the fact that he proposed to you is the important thing, not the size and quality and whatever of the ring. Like, I've never been married, but if I were to get married, you know what ring I would wear? Like one of those $35 silicone rings. Seriously.
But you got to put yourself in the perspective of the female who's probably spent the last 20 or 25 or 35 years of her life thinking about what type of wedding ring she gets. And then she gets one. And I'm not thinking that it's too large or too small. My guess is stylistically, it's not what she's looking for. And I don't, now it's a little bit too late maybe to solve that problem. But I don't think she should have let on to the fact that she didn't like it. And if it's kind of out there and you can tell he's not happy, something needs to be.
Well, you need to talk to him about it. You say, look, I can tell that you're upset about this. Honestly, I don't really like the ring. This is what I was expecting. And this is where, like, we don't know enough information for me to just call this girl materialistic, because if it's just because the ring isn't, like, the stone isn't big enough or anything like that, they're not going to tell her to screw off. But if it's because, like, he could do for the same budget a ring that she likes a lot more, then that's a conversation to have.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah. If it's like a quarter carat and you're expecting a couple carats, like that's, shame on you.
Yeah.
But if it's like stylistically something, like, I think that there could be a conversation to be had. But here's the issue though, is that you guys are going to be spending the rest of your lives together. So you need to be able to have conversations like this. And even if it is a bullshit conversation, neither person is right here. You got to kind of know when to shut up and know when to speak up. And if you think this is a big issue, then it's time to speak up, but you just have to do so tactfully and respectfully. All right. So,
well, yeah, because if you can't even talk about something as small as this, then what are you going to be able to do when, like, you have real problems in the relationship that need to be addressed? Like, if you can't address this problem, you're screwed.
All right. Reminder, this is our advice episode. So if you have questions, you can join by the link in my Instagram bio or you can call 212-239-1839, which I believe is actually on the Instagram banner and some of the other platforms. Next question. We're getting through these pretty quick.
Yeah.
How do you deal with friends who always try to one up your stories?
I've got the fun answer.
I mean, I could tell you this firsthand. I've experienced this. So go ahead. What's your fun answer?
The fun answer is that when they tell a story, you one up them, but what you do is you don't just do like a little bit. You one up them in such an exaggerated way that it becomes ridiculous and hilarious. And it's a way of pointing out their behavior through a joke. Is if they talk about like getting a bonus at work, you talk about how you got away with robbing the bank for $1 million, something like that. Of like, if you think that's something, like the last job that I worked, I got like a $2 million bonus, and I flipped off the boss and peed on his desk when I left.
Of course, you wouldn't pee on the bank teller's desk.
No. I'm talking about the job.
I know you're making a joke. So here's my thinking. Now, I actually frequently have friends that that tell stories that I was involved in and exaggerate the facts obnoxiously.
I know at least 3 of them.
And I also have friends that have retold my stories as their own while I have been in the company of those being told the story.
I can think of at least one of those.
Now, generally speaking, most people know the offender and know that they have a habit of doing that. So nothing needs to be said. Or oftentimes, most people just kind of know, like they may have heard the story from me already. But to me, I don't do very much because it's just like, listen, I lived this. You're telling it as a story and you're making it up. Like, also, or I lived this. You're telling it as a story. Like that's kind of badass enough. It didn't need the exaggerations, right? It's already big enough for you to tell a story. Just learn how to tell stories well. But it's not like if I'm going to tell a story, then somebody is going to like one up it or something. Like that's not. I'm just really not interested in having that conversation. It's like, if I'm telling somebody asks me about my vacation, and then they're like, "Oh, what did you do recently?" And I'm like, "Oh, actually, last week I went to Mexico and we had a nice time. We went out on this boat and we were at the beach." And they're like, "Oh, I went to Mexico too." And then they just tell me about their vacation. Like, I'm not going to drag it back to my vacation. I'm just going to keep it like, "Okay, thank you for asking a question that spurred you being able to answer it." Like,
I don't know. I guess my answer just retreats to a common strategy that I like, which is agree and amplify.
All right. Let's see. Oh, the next one is a little tougher here.
I mean, to me, it's easy, but
all right. My sister wants to, this is not us, by the way. These questions have been directed at us, but these questions did not come from us.
This is not referring to your actual sister.
No, this does not refer to my actual sister. The question is, my sister wants to cheat on her current boyfriend. What should I do? You have an answer in mind on this one?
I sure do.
Go for it.
You got to tell her boyfriend.
Okay. So I'll give you my take on the question. The question was, my sister wants to cheat on her current boyfriend. So inherent in the question to me is the fact that the question asker already knows.
I rephrased the question.
You typed the question and you rephrased it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, to me, current boyfriend makes it assume that the asker of the question kind of knows this is going to be a short.
No, the original question is like, my sister wants to cheat on her boyfriend, and I just put in current because I felt like that was clarifying.
All right. So
but my answer is like, if it's not fair to the boyfriend, assuming that he hasn't done anything wrong, which we have to for the purposes of this, like he's an innocent party here.
And now I mean, I think it depends.
But I would say the same thing if it was a guy wanted to cheat on a girl. Cheating is wrong whether it's a male or a female.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that it's your job to out the person. Here's my thinking: is you need. I mean, I don't think so. But here's and this is my opinion on this. It really depends on your relationship with the boyfriend.
If you know him at all,
I mean, I don't know, but I do think that you're not you don't need to protect your sibling at all costs, but and then you also know you're kind of dealing with a dishonest person who is your sibling. So you should, I would speak with the sibling first and be like, yo, if you're going to do this, you should break up with this person rather than go to the unrelated to you third party and say, hey, this is happening, because that's going to damage your relationship with your sibling, which you're likely to be in much longer than you are with this third party. So I would go to the sibling first.
Well, sure, you can say you shouldn't do this,
And
but
then
if they
it would also depend on my relationship with the current boyfriend. All right. Reminder, we are live. You can call 212-239-1839 with your advice questions. We're going to keep doing this until somebody calls, whether we get a call or not. So it means we could do it forever.
Yeah.
And let me check our time. In 4 or 5 minutes, I'm going to give last week's bar trivia question. I don't know if you remember this one. It was a math question.
Was it the one that like me and Rosh immediately got correct?
Yes. All right. Next question.
All right, this is pool related. So this comes up a lot in the league that I play in, which is handicapped, where every player has a skill level that's assigned to them based on, well, how good they play. And the way that the league works is there's a cap on the maximum number of skill points you can play in a night. And so having a bunch of players that are highly skilled on a team might sound good because like, oh, all the players on our team are good, but it actually means that like all those players can't play because their handicaps would add up to too high of a number. And so this question comes up a lot, and it basically says, my team's captain wants me to start losing intentionally so that my handicap doesn't go up. Should I listen to him?
And your answer is
No. Play your best game. Play like it's a disservice to the sport. It's a disservice to your opponent, and it's a disservice to yourself to play anything less than the best you can play. And if your team's captain doesn't like that, you need to find a different team. What do you think?
I think again, I don't play pool like you do, but I think it would really depend on your dedication to the team, and because you could potentially bounce back on this, right?
What do you mean?
It's about advancing your team, so you could then go win a bunch of matches after this, and
but it's all about trying to keep your handicap artificially low, so that way, like you have a better chance of winning your next match. Because the other thing with the handicap system is like the higher the handicap that you have, like so for example, I'm a 7 in the league out of 9, which means that if I'm playing a 9-ball match against somebody, I have to make 55 balls. If I'm playing against a 3, which is what every new player starts out as, they only need to make 25 balls to win the match. So I'm starting a match against a 3, 30 balls behind. And so if I go up to, let's say, an 8, now I have to make 65 balls. So matches become more difficult for me to win as I get better at the game. So it makes it so that a lower skilled player has a chance against a higher skilled player, but it also makes it so that a higher skilled player might lose more.
But my thinking is that at some point you may need to put the team ahead of you so that the team can proceed, so that in whatever tournament or season, so that ultimately you can win more in the long run.
And I say you should play your best game, and if you end up getting moved up in handicap, that's the system working as it's designed to keep games fair and fun for everybody. And if it means that you can, like, your team can't stick together anymore because everybody moved up too much in handicap, well, that's also part of the design of the system. Is ultimately like a team that starts off all new players, and as the players get better, eventually their total becomes too high and the team has to split up. And that's part of the way that the league makes revenue, is like it gets players that are interested in playing, they all get better, they eventually have to split up, and so now you have 2 teams. And so that's how the league grows. So I just think from a purity of competition standpoint, you should always play your best.
All right, I got you here. Here's last week's bar trivia question. So listen carefully, listen closely. Take 1,000, add 40 to it. Now add another 1,000. Now add 30. Now add another 1,000. Now add 20. Now add another 1,000. Now add 10. What is the total? Now here's the thing: is you have to do it in your head. I guess I should have given you that tip last week. Okay. Now obviously you just typed it in. I can hear you typing.
Yeah,
On
I
on
also
your
got it right off the top of my head within 2 seconds last week. So
So most people will answer 5,000 because they're adding. They got 1,000, and then they add 40, so they got 1040, another 1,000, 240, another 1,000. I'm sorry, 30. Now you got 2070. Now another 1,000, 3070. Now 20. That's 3090. Now another 1,000. That's 4090, and now 10, and they go 5,000. So you were kind of led into 5,000, but really the correct answer is what's after 4090 when you add another 10?
yeah, 4100.
4100. So the answer is
Yeah.
4,100. Now, obviously, if you did it in writing, then it was an
Yeah, but-
easy answer.
Yeah, I did it all in my head last week. We have chat log proof of it.
I don't know what you're doing on the other side of the keyboard. Stay tuned until the end of the episode for this week's new bar trivia question. This is an easy one, but it's a little bit tricky. So I think it's a pretty cool one. Next question. So pool related. Next question. Is it okay to end a friendship because we've grown apart? What are your thoughts?
Yes. If you don't feel like you have a relationship with this other person for whatever reason, that there's no reason for you to feel an obligation to continue hanging out.
I'm going to give you contrary, although again, very situational. It really depends on the situation. To me, ending a friendship seems very middle schooly. Now, and again, this is situational, but this is just so I think. To me, what's implied in this is I need to kind of cut this friend off and out of my life. Now, if it's just somebody that you don't see very much anymore and you're just not very close with, you don't need to call them up and be like, yeah, and fuck you too. Don't talk to me again. And I think that's kind of what it's the younger person who asked the question. So I think kind of that's what they were looking for. Like, I need to cut this person out. But really, if you've just drifted apart and you don't talk very much, you don't have to like remove this person from your friends list and put them on your enemies list.
No, you just
it's
go,
kind
like
of it's run its
slowly
course.
kind of ghost them. You just
Yeah.
don't call them, and like if they call you, you maybe just don't call back.
And the other side of the thing is like if your opinions and perspectives on life have diverted, then then maybe you might say, hey, you know what? I don't think we're always on the same page. I want to keep myself from arguing with you, so maybe it's best that we don't hang out as much. That
I kind of made that decision a couple months ago with somebody that you and I both know.
Yeah, I understand that. But also, there was some contention even in that conversation leading up to it, and you guys weren't super close before then. So, like, it was a little justified in that situation because the interactions were for you very frustrating. So I understand that. But again, it's situational. I think if you've just kind of grown distant with somebody, you don't need to call them and be like, by the way, I'm deleting you from Facebook and we're not friends anymore. Like, I don't think that's.
Well, I haven't said any of that. I just
yeah,
plan on like calling or communicating with this person again.
Yeah, but if you have like removing somebody from your friend
if I'm in the
list,
same room as them, I'll be polite and cordial. But
yeah, exactly. You wouldn't just ignore them entirely. You just wouldn't be very engaging. All right, next question. I'll let you. It's a long question, but
all right. All right. So this is about New York City. So I'm 27. I'm a 27-year-old guy, and I'm very seriously considering making the move to New York City. However, I'm scared of fitting in. My sister lives in this city, but outside of her, I don't know anyone there. It would be a full remote job. The salary would be a little bit above 100,000. I suppose I'm worried about making friends. I'm a homebody by nature, but I'm trying to work on it. I'm a nerd, and I feel like the stereotypical young New Yorker is a charismatic extrovert, so I worry I won't be able to find my people. My only real ideas to meet friends would be like tabletop games or like trading card games, but other suggestions are welcome. So
should this person make the move to New York City or not? In a nutshell.
I mean, if their concern is about being able to quote unquote fit in or find people that are similarly minded, I don't think that's a concern at all. There's lots of gaming shops, there's lots of nerds in New York City, and not everybody is like extroverted. It's just the reason why you think a lot of people in New York City are extroverted is because if you're walking on the streets, those are the people you're going to see. Like introverts are
Well, those are the ones that catch
underrepresented
your
in
attention the
media
most. Yeah,
by definition. It's like I'm an introvert. Like I don't get out much. I'm okay with it, but like that also means that you're not going to see me or people like me anywhere near as much because we don't seek attention, therefore we don't get attention.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think New York City has a plentiful supply of all different types of people, all different types of interests. If you're a homebody now and you live in fucking South Dakota and you want to be a homebody in New York City, as long as you can afford the rent, which by the way, if you're making just north of 100,000, you're probably going to be living with roommates. Like, go for it. Like, why not? Also, 27 male, you're considering making the move. To me, sounds like you don't have much going for you where you are. So why not?
But
Why not?
like there's so many different like communities for nerdy things in New York City. It's probably one of the best cities in the world to engage with those cultures actually because there's so many people there that also like doing those things.
Right. Yeah, and it sounds like this person's that like wants to do it. Their only fear is fitting in, and I don't think that's a rational fear in New York
And
City.
fear of fitting, like New York City is one of the last cities to have that fear because the city is so big and so diverse that nobody really cares about you, which means that you don't have to fit in.
Exactly. Nobody gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
Even if you're a total weirdo, like nobody. I walk by so many just weird, funky, crazy looking people, and three blinks later, I could totally I'm trying to think of somebody in my mind right now to describe that I've walked by today.
And that should be like the city's new tagline or whatever. Come to New York. Nobody will care about you.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
true though. Anybody that's New York City knows what I'm talking about.
110%. All right, so here's a good question. Actually, here's a good question, thought provoking, and the question is: I am starting to get bored of my long distance relationship with my boyfriend. I don't know what to do. Uh, I would tell you that, in my opinion, that's probably either you're just not seeing each other enough, or when you do see each other, you're not doing fun stuff. But it, to me, sounds like the same issue that you might have in a non-distant relationship. If you're starting to get bored, like you need to try to, if you want to stay in this relationship, you kind of address it. But uh, it doesn't sound like you're happy in a relationship. So either something needs to change, or you need to exit the relationship. But there'd be no reason to. You have to decide whether you want to work on the relationship or not.
Well, I would also say that there are different kinds of long distance relationships, and I will break them down into two types: temporary long distance relationships and permanent long distance relationships. And so, temporary long distance relationship is like here's an easy one: you're dating somebody that's in the military, and they're going on an 18-month deployment. That's temporary. You have plans to be back together. Something got in the way of you being together right now, but you have plans for the future where you're going to be back together. Or somebody moves to a city for work and you can't move to that city just yet, but you're planning on it. Any of those kind of situations where there's a timeline where you know that eventually you're going to be back in the same city again. And I think those kind of long distance relationships can work because you're just waiting for things to get better and you can find
No, yeah,
strategies in the
yeah.
meantime to mitigate and you always have something to look forward to, which is eventually we're going to be living together, right? But the
It's
permanent long
permanent.
distance
Yeah.
relationships where I'm in this city and I can't leave or I don't want to leave, and you're in this city and you can't leave or don't want to leave, and neither of us has any plans for us to move to a third city or to move to each other's cities. That's a permanent long distance relationship, and those are very difficult. I think that those are almost always doomed.
Yeah, much agreed. Um,
But you also have to ask why you're getting bored of it. Is it the
oh,
fact
that's,
that like
yeah.
you don't like that? Like, is the travel wearing on you? Is it something that you could start trying to see each other more often? Is that financially or like time? like time permitting possible? And would that help? Or is it like when you're seeing each other, like you're just not engaging the same way? Because if when you're hanging out together, you're still feeling bored, then that's just signs that the relationship isn't
Well,
working.
and that's the thing, and then also when you're apart, are you guys fulfilling what the relationship needs are while you're apart? You know, because you can't just expect like a weekend or a week, a weekend a month or 1 week every couple of months to fulfill the time and your needs outside of that time. You know, it's. I think you just really need to do some reflection. Say, is this something I want to stay in the long term? And then, is there a plan for us to be in the same place?
And Rosh asks, what if they want to be a permanently long distance type? Like, all right, well, if that's something that you both want, then fine, maybe it can work. But like,
I mean, some
in
people
my
really,
experience, in my
yeah.
observations, that is almost never the case.
But I would say, especially in recent times, relationships have gotten complicated. Some people don't want to have a full time life partner. They like being homebodies, introverts, private, living alone, and to have the opportunity, once a month or whatever, to see somebody else, and maybe that's the case. Maybe it would work for some people, but it sounds like this person who's getting bored, it's not working for them, so they either need to decide they want to stay in the relationship, change something up, test it, see if it works.
That gets to, like, this is not directly related to long distance relationships, but like you've seen the rise in popularity over the last couple of years of like non-monogamous and open relationships and stuff, right?
As relationships in general tend to continue to decline. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, but if for some people that can work, but for the vast majority of people it can't. And like whenever I hear anybody propose, like, yeah, like me and my partner opening up our relationship, all I think is that's just breaking up with extra steps.
Yeah, no, it never works. And I mean, there's a very, very, very marginal number of people that this does work for, but as a general rule, it's a dead relationship waiting to happen.
Right. So it's in the same vein as like the people that want like a permanent long distance relationship where they see their partner very infrequently. Those are going to work just as often as like the non-monogamous relationships. You're like, sure, there's a small subset of people that it can work for, but most people, not most people, nearly all people, it doesn't.
All right. Next up. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, hang on. I got to be able to read the whole question here. Is it okay to cut pizza with scissors? I recently saw someone doing it, and it really made me question how I do it. And that is with a pizza wheel and then a knife to finish the edges. Because anybody who's ever cut a pizza that's in a pan knows, or even in a box, you can't always get that pizza wheel all the way to the edge of the pizza. So then you got to take a knife, and basically you're getting two utensils dirty, and neither utensil is doing all the trip because you're not going to saw through the whole pizza with a knife. You ever seen somebody cut a pizza with pizza scissors?
No.
So my friend Chef Bruno one time came over. This guy loves making pizza. I love making pizza with him. He makes great pizzas. He grew up in a small tourist town outside of Rome. And so, they had all different types of pizza because people go to Italy and they're like, we got to eat the pizza here. He made a bunch of pizzas one day. And as they came out, he just grabbed the kitchen scissors and just chop right through it, chop right through it, chop right through it. Obviously, the pizza has to be in the right consistency and cooked the right way for it to work. My jaw dropped because I'm like, how are you fucking a hardcore Italian cutting your pizza with scissors? But he did it so flawlessly and effortlessly, and it just made me question now. Like, have you ever seen somebody? So you like knives. I like knives. Okay, we like cutting techniques. We like cutting steak and cutting meat. Have you ever been to Korean barbecue?
No.
They just give you you have a kind of grill in front of you that's in the middle of the table, and they bring all these meats to the table. And I don't know, maybe because I'm white, that they kind of put it on the grill for me. Okay. I'm going to the Korean barbecue because I want to do the cooking. Okay. First off, like if you're giving me the meat, I want to do the cooking. But what they do is they kind of, they cut up the meat and put it on the grill and then put it on your plate. Because obviously they assume, I don't know how to cook it or something. They cut the meat with scissors into little pieces and then put it on the grill, which to me is like,
that just seems wrong to me. And I'm going to say that, like, is it okay to cut pizza with scissors? No. Use a pizza wheel. And if you
even if
if
it's
you
not,
have a
even if
good
it's
pizza
not as
wheel,
good.
you don't need to use a knife to finish the edges. It's not that hard to do.
Rosh says it's like drinking wine out of a paper cup. But only if the paper cup was better for the experience of drinking wine. And I'm telling you, these scissors, it makes a better experience for
I
cutting a
just don't
pizza.
think it does. Like if you can use a pizza wheel, which is not hard to do, like go into any pizza place anywhere and watch them as they pull the pizzas out of the oven and throw them into a box for like whoever's going to pick up. What tool are they using?
Well, I'll tell you what I want. Anybody listening that wants to send me a nice birthday or Christmas gift this year, here's what I want. I don't know if you've ever seen, they have like the big blade. It's like 16 to 18 inches long, piece of wood with a rounded blade on the bottom. And
I've got something like that at my
they
house.
pop it on a
And,
pizza and
yeah,
just do this and pop
yeah,
it, boom, boom.
that's still a knife. That's okay.
Yeah, I think that's very cool.
No, I've got something similar like that at my house that I'll occasionally use to cut pizza if I don't feel like using the pizza
So,
wheel. But I'm not taking holding the pizza up and cutting it like that. It's just wrong. You don't do that.
I'll tell you though, when I watched Chef Bruno do this, he did it so flawlessly and stylishly. I was sold. I will tell you though, I prefer. I don't think there's anything wrong with cutting it unless you do it like a goofball, which probably somebody would because you're dealing with a hot pizza.
Again, guys.
I'm gonna say it's in most cases wrong to do. Just cut it with the fucking pizza wheel. End of story. All right, you get the next one here.
Yeah, next one. Am I crazy for wearing a mask even after COVID? I have a lot of insecurities about myself, starting from my weight to the way that I look. Ever since the mask policy stopped being enforced at my school, I haven't wanted to take off my mask in front of people. I don't have germophobia or anything. I just don't like the way that I look. So can I continue to wear a mask despite being the only one in all my classes in school to wear one? And my answer is sure, man. You do you. Like you're not hurting anybody,
Fake question.
huh?
I think it's a fake question.
It might be, but let's answer it. My answer is who cares? Like if that's the way that you feel more comfortable, then go ahead and do it. You're not hurting anybody, are you?
Yeah, they're hurting themselves.
How?
They're ostracizing themselves even more. They're not facing their fears. They're using a fucking security blanket as a high schooler or a college person. They're using this thing as a security blanket to hide themselves. They're making themselves stand out more. The real answer is man up, go for a jog, take better care of yourself. They didn't say they're afraid of germs. Okay,
I understand that.
They're using it to hide themselves.
They are,
which to me says it's not okay. To me, I'm not going to say keep hiding yourself and give them a little.
I would say
golf clap for them.
All right, I'll back off my answer a little bit.
Face the heat, man up.
I'll say I feel like your answer is far too harsh. I would say find ways to work on yourself to get more comfortable to the point where you don't need the mask. And
and remember, this isn't for germs, and this person doesn't have like
what
a
I'm saying is,
pre-existing condition or an autoimmune disease.
You can't look at this as a permanent solution to fixing your insecurities for the rest of your life. If it's something that you need right now to get through the day, fine. But you need to start working on yourself to get to the point where you can one day look back at the mask and say, I'm glad I don't need that anymore.
Did you ever as a kid not want to go somewhere and your parents dropped you off and you just cried and cried and cried, didn't want to get out of the car? Did you ever do that, or did any of your brothers ever do that?
Maybe when I was very young. I don't know.
Yeah, like 3 or 4, or 6 or 7 or something like that. And then you get over it. You know why?
Because you had to.
Because your parents just said, get the fuck out of the car. Or they dragged you out of the car, walked you to school. And
I mean, I do remember when I was maybe 5 or 6 and I went to some kind of summer camp or whatever. And at drop off, there would be a couple of the kids there that were always crying because their parents left. And I was like, what's the problem with this? This is a cool place. You should be happy you're here. There's things to do.
But this is what it feels like to me.
I'll see my parents in 6 hours. I'll be fine.
I'm scared to step into the real world. I'm using a security blanket, a security shield.
Yeah,
and to me, it's just get the fuck out of the car, right? Just get out of the car.
And I'm saying that you're being a little too harsh.
But I don't think that I am. I think
you've convinced me to back off of my wholehearted endorsement of their behavior
because you were being nice. And what I think sometimes being nice isn't the answer. And
Yeah.
look, if you want to grow as a person, like if you want to get even worse and gain even more weight and stop talking to people and then just like stop going out, like yeah, keep the fucking mask on. If you want to go in the other direction, take that shit off and deal with it. Brush your teeth first.
Yeah.
Brush with some baking soda too, because you probably got some yellow chompers or something. But I think and this is insecurities and weight and things like that. But I don't think keeping the mask on is an answer to that.
Definitely start working towards a place where you can
you're not hiding, right? Like you're not hiding behind your sunglasses or your mask. Everybody, you need to either own who you are, or if you're not happy with who you are, become a better version of who you are. That's kind of that's the best advice.
Vanilla Sky.
What's that?
Vanilla Sky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll hit the bar trivia so we don't run out of time because it's a little bit long. And then I really want to get to this last question. So hopefully you have time for that. Let me hit you the bar trivia. You ready?
Yep.
Jed climbed the castle stairs into his ultra-private bathroom. The windowless room was constructed of concrete blocks and stone. As Jed closed the large solid wooden door, he heard the outside latch fall shut, locking him in to this airtight room. Without considering the possibilities, Jed turned on the tap to take a bath to ponder his escape. When the bathtub was full, he went to turn it off, and the tap was stripped and broken. The water would not shut off. Jed was not only locked in, but he could not get the water to turn off. Since the room was watertight and the water was beginning to cover the floor, how could Jed keep from drowning? So he was in an airtight room running a bath. The latch had fallen. He couldn't escape. There was no windows. We'll assume the caulking was very good back in his block and stone castle.
I will say that just from a functional perspective, having a bathroom being completely airtight is not a good idea.
Oh my god. Yeah. But so how could Jed keep himself from drowning? That is this week's bar trivia question. I'll let James and Raj, you guys can answer me once we get off the cast for that one. Let's hit this next question. And the question is
the last one, right?
This is the last one we got. Yeah. And if somebody wants to, somebody tell me it's too noisy. They can't hear me. Well, you shouldn't be watching on TikTok. You should be watching on Instagram, Twitch, X, YouTube, Facebook, or you could subscribe. And one quick plug for our website, visit SipTalkPodcast.com. You can buy us a drink at SipTalkPodcast.com, or you could answer the bar trivia question for a chance to win some cool bar merch. Somebody told me they can't hear me on Instagram, so I don't know. I'm sorry, on TikTok, so I don't really know how to deal with that except tell them to watch somewhere else. All right, what do we got here? Does it make sense to memorize phone numbers anymore?
Yes.
I wonder if your answer is the same as mine. Yes, and why?
Well, you can't always depend on your contacts list. And certainly being able to recognize certain area codes helps. But like a couple years ago, my old phone, the contacts list on it just blew up. Didn't work anymore. So literally every single phone number in my text messages history and stuff was just a phone number. I couldn't save contacts. So I had to memorize.
It helps you memorize. It really helps you. When I meet new people, I generally don't save their numbers right away. And that has helped me memorize lots of phone numbers. I'll tell you the number one reason, in my opinion, to memorize people's phone numbers is if you go to jail, you don't get to go to your cell phone to make an outgoing call to call people. You have to know the people's phone numbers. So they're just like, you're like, can I get a phone call? They're like, yeah, here's the phone. They're not like, oh, can you get my pants and pull my phone out of it?
Oh, your phone's been seized.
Your phone's been seized, and it's in a sealed container somewhere else, not on the charger. So that would be my reason to make phone calls.
Yeah, and also if you're ever in a situation where your phone is either not available to you or has died, and you need to call somebody, be it not a jail situation, you still need to be able to know a couple key phone numbers. So memorizing certain, I would say, being able to memorize somewhere between 5 and 20 phone numbers is pretty important.
Yeah, I know yours. I know. I actually know tons, which I think is like really impressive. Some people don't
But
even
we
know their
also
own
grew up
phone.
in a time where like
You
you
had to
did need to
dial them.
memorize.
You know what I learned recently? Do you know why Manhattan has the 212 area code? Which, by the way, if you want to call in with your question, we're running out of time in this episode. 212-239-1839. 212-239-1839. So you know why 212 is the Manhattan area code?
No.
Most dialed, most populated area when they were assigning area codes. So it was mostly dialed. And it is the fastest number to dial on your keypad. Second most populated city at the time, Los Angeles, area code 213. Third most populated city at the time, Chicago, area code 312. There's a couple more. 214, I think, is 214 is that somewhere in Ohio, maybe? I don't know, but basically the most populated cities in that order got the kind of closest digits, and then kind of as you get away from that, but I always thought that was interesting. You never knew that?
No.
Yeah. So the 212, 213, 312, and 214 and so on are just kind of go in descending order of population per city.
And I still have phone numbers of like exes from 20 years ago memorized.
In your brain?
Yeah. They're not in my contacts list anymore.
When
I got my new phone, I had to rebuild my contacts list from scratch.
Does your family still have your old landline phone number
At home?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I won't say it out loud. I was trying to see if I had it in my mind.
You probably do.
All right. Anything else we're missing right now?
I can't think of anything.
Nothing on phone numbers. Nothing on.
I mean, it's also just like kind of a cool trick. Like if someone like you want to say like, oh yeah, I know your phone number. Like, no, I don't need to look up your phone. Like, I don't need to look up your contact in my phone. I just know your phone number. Like, it shows somebody that like they're important to you.
Yeah, I think that the closest people to you, like siblings, parents, people you're in a relationship with, you should have their phone numbers memorized. I think like it's almost a sign of respect.
Yeah.
But also, like if you go to jail, you probably got to call one of those people too. Or if you lost your phone, right? You need it. You're like, oh, my phone's dead. I don't know. I'm stranded. Can I use your phone to call my loved one? Like that person doesn't have your fucking person saved.
And then you dial a 900 number.
I mean,
that's a good prank.
Yeah, well, that would be.
I need to call a loved one. 1-900.
I'm trying to find a new loved one, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so that's all we got for this week. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Visit SipTalkPodcast.com, and we'll see you next time. Justin DiGiulio for James Boswell saying adios. New York City real estate agents, it's time to make the move. Keep 100% of your commission. Get access to hands-on agent support and New York City's best agent training, the Slingshot program. Online access to our Agent University and online on-demand video training program. All at DiGiulio. Contact info@DiGiulioGroup.com to make the move.